Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin, and joining us today is the amazing horror couple, Ashley and Ken Sledge. Let's talk all things Sledgehammer horror. Ashley, Ken, how you both doing?
We're doing good. Happy to be on here.
Very excited. Been looking
Yeah.
forward to this, man.
Yes. I'm so happy to finally have you on here and kind of dive into where everything started with you guys, because you've been doing Sledgehammer horror for a long time, and you've been evolving a lot too with different formats, adding new things, always putting out something. And we're a part of an amazing podcast community as well. So I've been trying to get around to everybody in there. So thank you both for wanting to come on and talk about yourselves for about an hour or so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're super excited about it.
Yeah. So I guess where we can all start off with this is I guess this is kind of like a question for both of you. So whoever wants to answer it, you can go right ahead. Is where did Sledgehammer horror begin?
You can
Me?
go ahead and start.
Um,
Because it kind of you kind of started it.
yeah,
all.
it started with unfortunately, the pandemic. For those that don't know, Ashley and I, not only are we partners in this, we're partners in life. We've been together 18 years.
Amazing.
And
Mhm.
during the pandemic, when we had to spend every waking moment together, she realized that she really didn't like me as much as she thought she did. So she wanted me to get a hobby. And I was blessed. I grew up in a video store. My parents owned a mom and pop video store called Downtown Video, and I always gravitated to horror, or something that I was always a part of. And I always loved talking to people about the first horror movie they watched, like what got you started with horror, what influenced you to want to become a part of the horror community. And I thought, I'll start doing this. I'll start interviewing people about it,
Mhm.
and we had fun. And our last name is Sledge.
Right.
So the
It's
name
so fitting.
Sledgehammer Horror, right? Well, it was just super, easy and on the nose. So, I started doing that, and then Ashley was coming with these ideas like, "Hey, I got this idea I think you should do for the channel, and I got this idea I think you should do for the channel." And I was shooting her down. I was like, "No, I won't do it unless you do it with me. That's the only
Oh
way I'll
yeah.
agree to do it." And
And I was like, okay, I'm not doing it then.
yeah, and she's super introverted, like
Yeah,
where
I'm
I'm
like the introvert.
extroverted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it like took me a long time to feel comfortable like in front of a camera and like doing things like this. Like it took me a long time to like get over that fear.
Mhm.
But I mean,
And
I
you're amazing at it.
thank you.
Yeah.
And my first horror movie thing is kind of my baby.
Yeah.
And then you've got like Didn't See That Coming, which is Ashley's baby, really.
Oh, it's so good. I
And
love that
yeah,
series.
when you watch a Didn't See That Coming episode, like, just know I didn't do a fucking thing, or I'm sorry, a freaking thing.
No,
Like,
no,
I
you can. Yep, you're not censored, so go right ahead. You can
okay,
swear.
I did the editing, and that's about it. Like when it comes to the writing, all the background props, everything, that's all Ashley. Like she writes the entire thing. She does a lot of deep dives and behind the scenes, and um, her work is just it's inspiring. Like it really keeps Sledgehammer Horror going. Like every time, like we dread doing a Didn't See That Coming episode because
It's just because it's so much work.
yeah,
It's a lot of work. And we're always like, all right, we're gonna do it this day. And then we'll get home and be like, okay, we're gonna do this another day.
But
I
the
feel
minute
that.
we finish an episode, like
Like it feels
it's
like
so
good.
inspiring.
Yeah.
Like and I never read Ashley's scripts beforehand. And if
Mhm.
you don't know Sledgehammer Horror, I can't recommend this enough. Not that I'm trying to shamelessly plug or anything. Go to our YouTube channel, go to our Didn't See That Coming playlist, and watch the Sinister episode.
Mhm. I know.
And I left an outtake in the episode, so it's kind of an intake of an outtake,
Mhm.
proving that I do not read the scripts before Ashley writes them. That's how much trust I have in her. It's like I'm like Ron Burgundy. Like if you put the question mark on there, I'm going to say it as a question. Like the teleprompter says it and I read it. Like that's the trust I have in the work that she does. I don't have to proofread it. I don't have to go over anything because she's a fucking genius and she works her ass off, and it means the world to her. And a lot of people think that's joke or hyperbole or I'm trying to, be funny, and I'm not. Like in that episode, you can genuinely see the shock on my face when I read a certain joke, and I'm just like, oh, I wonder who wrote this,
Yeah.
like, and I go back and I watch these things, and it just makes me laugh because me and my wife are having such, like it's work, like it really is work,
Mhm.
but it's the best work I've ever done because I'm doing it with my wife, my best friend, and She does all the work, so I just get to stand in front of a teleprompter and read words.
That's not true. I mean, editing and all that is a lot of work too that I don't want any part of. Yeah. So that's a lot. I know that's a lot of work because I hear you sometimes like getting aggravated.
Because one thing that I do, and if anybody watches Sledgehammer Horror, you may have noticed this. Like, if we're talking about a quote from a movie and I'm putting the movie clip on over top, I try so hard to make it so our words match up with their mouth as it's going.
Yeah.
So it's they're like, I try so hard to make the editing look really good, and
and you do great.
Thank you. But that's my thing, is when it comes to editing, I'm super anal about how things look. So it does take me a long time sometimes. I got to step away and go out to the punching bag or
take a breather, take a walk.
Go out and take a walk or take a run or something. But it's something we absolutely love doing. And to me, the best part of Sledgehammer Horror are, besides working with my wife every day, is the connections and the friends we've made.
Yeah, just the community in general. The horror community is such a phenomenal community to be a part of. Like, they're always so kind and like you always want to help. It's awesome.
And I don't think, and I'm not being condescending to anybody listening, but I don't think people really understand how close we get, like, to you guys.
Yeah.
Like, we talk every day.
Yes.
Like, we have our own little chat groups and like pick me ups or proud of yous and stuff like that. And it really does help when you have friends that are there to promote your stuff and let you know, like, yo, I'm super proud of you, like Candy, just with her writing. For those of you that the House That Screams, the horror podcast, she's a big part of our group, and she's doing amazing things outside of podcasting right now. But we're still family, so we still talk. And it's just like, that's the connections that Ash and I have made that, like, we don't take for granted and we appreciate every day, is the beautiful friendships and family that we've made.
Yeah, we've met so many awesome people, like, in different states, and like, if we've ever gone and visited that state, we're like, hey, let's meet up.
Let's hook up for some lunch.
We've made some really awesome friends.
That is more rewarding than any monetization, than any view count. For sure. When you can meet up with somebody that you've met through doing a job like a podcast, and you can sit down with that person and you guys have that internal and now external connection. It's just, that's something Ash and I would never, ever take for granted. That's the biggest success we've had with Sledgehammer Horror, is the friends and family that we've made along the way.
I agree.
Yeah, I feel that too with this show, because mine's gone over a big overhaul within the last year. Almost year and a half now, I think, is getting my new co-host Dean, who's so busy with conventions right now. That's kind of just been me doing episodes, which is fine. I love being here because it gives me more of a chance to reach out to other horror folks to come over here and just kind of do these and have a sit down, learn about them a little bit more, and let our audience learn about them a little bit more, in case if they haven't heard of you before, and to go check you out. And one really big thing that just happened, like right now, is Dean, he just launched his Horror Hot Sauce US side. So if you guys want to go support him, I'll put the links down below. As with your channel and everything too, to try to get people to go and check out his stuff and also check out your stuff, because Sledgehammer Horror, you guys have a show that, like, when I'm seriously feeling like shit and feeling really, really down, your show really helps. It really does. And to actually call you guys a friend and, to be in this podcast group together and knowing that you guys are making something that can uplift me and make me more motivated to be better at what I'm doing, it's a great thing. And I don't take any relationships that I make with anybody for granted at all. We've met so many amazing people, especially with My First Horror Movie. You've interviewed so many people, so many people that it's phenomenal of how far you can take this one little project that you didn't think was really going to be much and just turn into this gigantic universe, essentially.
It's funny. I had somebody, and this is a complete true story. I reached out to another podcaster, because when we do My First Horror Movie, like, we love doing actors, actresses, directors, podcasters, YouTubers. I love learning how horror started for anybody. And I reached out to this podcaster and I was like, yo, I do this program, My First Horror Movie, do Sledgehammer Horror. I'd love to have you on. And they literally sent me back a message. It was like, I'm a huge fan of yours. I watch your show all the time. I now feel like I've made it as a podcaster.
That's
because
awesome.
You guys asked me to come on. And that made me feel so good. I'm like, dude, that's so... it was Michael. I'm not going to say what podcaster,
That's
but
awesome.
Like, that made me feel good. He's like, that's like a rite of passage for us podcasters to come on your show and like doing stuff like that. Like, I don't know when this will air, but Ashley and I are actually doing an interview with somebody that we've been fans of for a very long time. We've met a couple times next week. Felissa Rose. Like, we're doing an interview with Felissa, and I've met her a couple times at cons, and people are like, ask her. I'm like, at cons, that's not really to me the right time or place.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to ask people to do interviews at cons. I don't like to ask people, hey, can I get your information? Well, I don't do that when we're at cons. It's just not my thing. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that. It's just me personally. That's not what I do. Yeah. But to finally make a connection with her is something we're very, very excited about.
Yeah.
That's something that to us is very special to be able to finally sit down and talk to her. And it's not even my first movie. We're interviewing her about a movie she has coming up.
Mm-hmm.
The amazing director Steve Merlo is going to be a part of this as well. Crystal Gorski, who's a friend. So we're very excited to be able to interview people about movies they have coming up. But, we're, like you said, always expanding, always trying to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats. I know how good it feels too when you reach out to this person and just shooting the shit and being like, oh, okay, maybe if I do this, they'll want to come on and talk. And I've had that happen so many times. I'm just like, is this real? Is this really happening right now? Am I talking to you? I mean, it's not like face to face. It's as close to face as it possibly could be. So like you have like this little barrier that doesn't make you freak out as much as you would if they were actually in person. At least that's how I feel, because I would not talk throughout the whole thing. I would just be so mesmerized about like, how am I talking to you right now? But that's awesome. Congrats, seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess moving on, we can jump straight to this one because I always like this one. Is your favorite horror film? Ashley, we can start with you.
My favorite horror film of all time?
Yes.
Is actually People Under the Stairs.
Wow, I never hear that one. Never.
Really? Yeah. No, that movie, it scared me. Like the kids under the stairs, sister, brother, or mommy, daddy, whatever you want to call them. They are terrifying. I love Fool, and I like the message. Like it's a horror movie first, but there's also a message there. I like a horror movie with a good message, but that's a horror movie first. Yeah, it's my all-time favorite. Like we watch it, a few times a year usually. Like, yeah, love it.
Wow. What about you, Ken?
It'll always be House from 1986.
Oh yeah.
That'll always be it. But if I had to cancel House, I'm a huge fan of 2020's The Dark and the Wicked.
Oh wow, that's another one I don't really hear a lot about.
I adore that movie. It scared me. Like I'm 37 years old, 35 at the time, and I haven't felt that type of fear from a movie in a very long time. Like it was very unsettling. I think Brian Bertino, the guy that directed it and wrote it, he also did The Strangers.
He knows how to scare people. Yeah. Like The Strangers is another one that's just like, it's so terrifying because it can be like real. Like some of the things that they say, it's just like, oh, like it hits you. Yeah.
That's so
I mean, if we're talking about, my favorite of all time, nothing will ever top House. Like nothing. But I was very, very impressed with what The Dark and the Wicked did when I watched it. I've watched it probably 5 or 6 times now, which is unheard of for me when it comes to rewatching, modern films. I usually watch them once or twice, and just because we don't have time.
Yeah, I feel that.
We're always trying to do new things with the channel and stuff. So, but The Dark and the Wicked is one that like we've watched a couple different times. We actually just wrote a Didn't See That Coming episode on it, which is funny because
we keep putting off to do.
Yeah, and then we just did a fan vote, and our next Didn't See That Coming is going to be House from 1986.
Wow, when that won you're winning on all sides.
Yes. I was so happy when that won the vote.
We have to watch that.
Yeah, we don't even got to watch that one.
Oh, you're gonna watch it anyway, though. Just do it. You have to.
Oh, he will absolutely.
It's funny because in August, we get to meet William Catt.
Yeah.
Wow.
George went. Like the people from House, like they're having like a little House reunion at this con.
You're gonna get like shy.
I'm gonna get so nervous. Like
don't pee your pants.
The big one.
I know.
Like I'm gonna be so nervous. Like, and I don't get nervous.
He's gonna be like sweating.
Yeah. Like meeting them.
It'd be super awkward when you meet them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like it's just like that's one that I'm like so like that whole con is gonna be me having nerves everywhere because
it's gonna be fun though.
We get to meet William and George. We finally get to meet Amy, who's been a good friend. Amy Donald, that is Megan. Her and her mother are very, very good friends of ours. So we're gonna take them out to dinner that night, and that's just awesome. Have a good time with them. And then Robert Englund
Yeah.
He's on the bucket list.
He's been on the bucket list for a while now.
Yeah. And now we finally get to meet Robert. And this is the first con that our girls are going to with us. We still can't convince our son. He's still too cool for school, but our girls are going to go with us, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And they're both going to cosplay and have a good time. So
and
then meeting up with friends that we're always going with. Jamie's going to be there, Raven. People that we're really good friends with. So we're just excited, man. Like and like I said, getting to meet the cast of House, like that's one for me that's like, whoa.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be me without that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's so awesome. Congrats, seriously,
Thank
on everything that you're doing. This next question I think is a hard one to answer, but I'm always intrigued if you can point one. I guess we can do this separately. Ashley, we can start with you. What is your favorite episode that you have done so far?
That is a hard one. So it's gonna be the didn't see it coming that we did on Final Destination 5.
That was fun.
It was just a lot of fun, and like our flow was really good, and we were just like joking around, and like we have a bunch of like reels from it because we were just being like goofy, or not reels, but
Instagram reels.
Yeah.
Bloopers.
Well, bloopers, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Because we just had a really it was just a fun time. Like most of the time, like he said, when we didn't see that coming, it's like we're trying to get it done, and it's taking forever, and it's a lot to read. But that one, it was just I really liked that one.
And if you guys ever see our bloopers on Instagram or anything, those are genuine.
Yeah.
Like those are real. We don't plan bloopers. Those are real.
It's our real, what happens when we mess up and we're just being goofy and having fun. Like that's the whole part of this, is just to do something together and have fun. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna choose a My First Horror Movie just because I don't care if you're a podcaster with 3 subscribers or you're Josh Eppard from Coed in Cambria. I respect everybody that's come on that show, and learning how horror started for people. I've made some of genuinely my best friends from that, so I couldn't pick a favorite from there. But yeah, I'm gonna go with our Versus episode on Evil Dead 1981 versus Evil Dead 2013. I'm gonna go with that one. Just because that's probably my second favorite franchise.
Yeah.
Outside of Child's Play, and being able to go that deep into a movie that I think is the best remake of all time in Evil Dead 2013 and dissect some of the things, that are different and the same about those two movies, and the strides that were made in the horror world in between those two films. That was just one that I had a really, really good time with. And I still go back and I'm super proud of it. It's one of our longest episodes we've ever done. Up until Poltergeist, our Versus on Poltergeist just broke the record. That one will be out in a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
But up until this Poltergeist Versus, which was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that one.
That one was fun.
Up until then, I would probably say that. That I think that's probably one of my favorite ones we've ever done, is the Evil Dead one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All are in defense of too. We got to get you back on for an in defense of episode.
Yeah, let me know. Movie that no one likes.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about movies that are critically panned in the community. We've had Halloween Ends, we've had Poltergeist, or I'm sorry, Phantasm 3.
Yeah.
We've had Jason Takes Manhattan. We've had Jason Goes to Hell,
which I was not a part of.
Yeah, it's so funny. I got to say this real quick. Jason Goes to Hell is in my top 3 Friday the 13th films.
Okay.
Ashley hates that movie.
I do. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I have nothing good to say about it.
Right.
And we're supposed to be defending it. So
right.
Just take me out of the equation.
In defense of the series, you'll notice that the first one is the only one that doesn't have Ashley. And it's because she dislikes the movie so much that
I can't think of one good thing.
I love that episode because 1, I love the movie, and 2, we did it with Josh.
Yeah.
The drummer from Coed in Cambria, Josh Eppard, has become a really good friend of ours, which if 14-year-old me heard me say that, his fucking head would explode.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where I look at these movies and I look at people, even you, Dustin, and people we grew up so far apart from each other, but we're watching these movies and sometimes we felt the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we felt completely different. So it's it's really, really cool to learn how people who we looked up to or were good friends with, how they felt about these horror movies. So we'd love to have you on for an in defense of talk about a movie that, a lot of people in the horror community don't like that you love. Upcoming, we have episodes on Halloween Resurrection.
That's mine.
Mine is Poltergeist 3. I said I wasn't going to do an episode. I was always like, you know what? I'm kind of like the co-host of this. I'm not going to do an episode. I'm going to make this about the guests, but I feel like Poltergeist 3 is a movie that is worth defending. And Ashley was the same way. She was like, we're the host of this. She was like, but you know what? I fucking love Halloween Resurrection, and I'm not sorry about it.
So many people hate it.
Yeah. Which is funny because I'm not a Halloween purist. Like, I'm not a huge Halloween guy. So when people talk about how much they hate Halloween, I know. When people talk about how much they hate Halloween Resurrection, I'm always like, why?
I know.
Like, I think it's fun.
It is fun. You have a good time with it.
I've never watched Halloween Resurrection, but I'm like, man, I'm bored.
No, it's not boring.
No, it's fun, man.
Yeah, I love all the old Halloweens. I think up until Halloween 2018, and I guess Halloween Kills, after talking to a few people about it, they kind of changed my mind about it, and I enjoyed it a little bit more. Halloween Ends is still growing on me. It's still like I have to watch it again. It's one of those films. It's like I don't know if I can classify it as a Halloween film, but then you can go and say Halloween 3 isn't a Halloween film because they were trying something different, you know. But yeah, all like the old before the Blumhouse era of Halloweens, I love them all, regardless of how cheesy or quote unquote bad they are. Like I have fun every single time I watch them. So
yeah, he's gonna start dissing Halloween 6 right now.
That movie's dog shit. I wasn't going to.
I thought you were. I think that's where you were going.
No, I was gonna say
we fight about that all the time.
Halloween Ends is a very, very good movie if you watch it as its own film.
That's
if you watch it as the third part of the trilogy, it's dog shit.
The marketing that they did for it, they ruined it. Like we thought we were getting the final Laurie, Michael, 1 for all, 2 for all, whatever you want to call it. And that's not what we got. And I think the fans of the franchise were really let down by that.
Yeah. I just think if you go into that movie watching it as its own film, not the third part of a trilogy, like as a third part of a trilogy, like I said, it's stupid. It's garbage.
Well, that's how I felt about Halloween 3 too. Like Michael, that's how I did feel. Like Michael was not in it at all, and
that's what made it good.
That's what made it good. He says
we're gonna start fighting.
You notice in Halloween 3 they use Michael. They literally tie him up and make him watch the first Halloween film as torture. I was like, I get it, bro. I get why you feel so sad right now. That's how they would torture me.
He never went to space.
Wasn't good enough. He was gonna go to space, but Busta Rhymes whooped that ass and made him stay on Earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Dangertainment, baby.
Oh man, I could go on and on about Halloween all day, but yeah, I agree on the Halloween Ends.
I really like Halloween. It's my wife's favorite, so I have to throw jabs as much as I can. I respect that franchise so much, and
it's gone through hell, literally.
Like the older I've gotten, the more I realize that like Michael is probably the scariest of the big three, and my big three will always be.
I wore off.
Yeah, my big three will always be Michael, Jason, Freddy. That's my big three, and I think Michael, he's the most realistic. He's just your neighbor that went crazy and snapped, and is just an evil person.
He was just born evil.
Yeah, he had the devil's eyes.
The blackest eyes.
So yeah, I'll say, I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess moving on, Ken, this is more kind of geared towards you, because you recently started doing this, and now you want to do more of it. Is acting. And I got the screener of the film that you were in, Bride of the Killer Pinata, which was really fucking funny. And seeing you in it, like I was cracking up. I was like, I know him. I know him. So I wanted to talk to you about how did that kind of come about, and how did you want to start acting? Like what sparked it?
I've actually been even in school. I did a lot of film classes. And it's something that I've always had a big interest in. And I got the chance at Bride, and, obviously I jumped on it. Steve, Jen, all the people at Angry Mule are fantastic people. They're, very, very goal-oriented, very intelligent, but they know how to make a movie that you're going to want to watch. And I loved Bride of Killer Pinata. I love the first Killer Pinata film. And to be asked to be a part of something like that was super special to me, super important to me. And, it was just something that I was very, very excited for. And we've got a couple more projects like that coming up. Ashley and I were both in a TV show called St. Gabriel.
Yeah, oh, cool. I was in it by mistake. Well, not by mistake, but like by
fate.
But I guess that's what you could call it. It was more like you're doing this.
Do you got a second for me to tell a quick story?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So we travel. I'm going to be a bodyguard in this TV show. And I don't. That's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to spoil it. It's on Tubi right now. It's called St. Gabriel.
I'll have to check it out.
And we get there. Oh, dude, you should. It's dope. We get there and we're waiting. We're doing meal prep and we're doing spots and stuff like that. And they come in and they're like, "Man, we don't know what we're going to do. We had an actress not show up. We're trying to get a hold of that talent agency right now." And I was like, "Do they got speaking lines?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "A lot?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Ashley will do it." She was like, "What?" I was like, "Get her in costume. Ashley will do it."
No, I'm not doing that.
Dude, and she killed it, man. Like,
I was so nervous.
I was standing. I was like the dad at the sidelines, man.
I said like 5 things, literally, but I was like, I'm gonna screw this up.
She killed it, man. I was literally at the side, just like, "That's my wife. She's so fucking awesome. She's amazing." It was dope, watching her and then getting to do our scenes. And we have actually, I can't spill too many beans on this one, but we have a movie coming up that Ashley and I are both going to be in that is no horror whatsoever. It's a complete drama film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's very, very emotional. It's a very, very touching, emotional story that we got connected to, and I'm very excited about. And then I've gotten offered a role in another film that I just recently took that is a slasher.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I play a guy in it that he's just a piece of shit, man. like I'm not saying I'm a good person. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. Like I'd like to think I'm a good person. I like to think I treat people fairly, and I'd like to think I'm open-minded and I'm loving. The character I'm playing isn't.
Yeah.
He's very close-minded. All he wants, but he this won't really spoil anything. I'm playing a guy that's pretending to be trans so he can join a roller derby league and beat up on women.
That's fucked up,
which
Ken.
for people that know me like that's going to be a wide change for me, because that's not who I am. I'm very accepting of every community. I'm very accepting of whatever. And we have a daughter that's homosexual, and the first thing she did was ask us to fly a pride flag, and we flew a pride flag. Like, of course, I don't care what you identify as. I'm going to love you no matter what. The biggest thing to me is you identify as my daughter, and that will never change no matter what.
Just be yourself. That's all we care about.
Right. So to get offered a role like this was very, very interesting to me, because I feel like I'm going to have to act now. I'm going to have to pretend to be something that I'm not. And that I'm very excited to tackle that type of change, that type of role, to be somebody that, in my opinion, is the total opposite of the integrity and the beliefs that I have as a human being. To try to tackle that and encapsulate that and make that into a reality, I'm very, very excited for that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how you take it and see you in a different light, because that's the whole thing about acting, is portraying somebody different, that's not yourself, and to push boundaries for yourself and to see what you can do. So I'm excited to see how far you can take this, and I want to see you in more shit, man.
I appreciate it. Well, reading the script, like, what I love about this guy, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything because we haven't even filmed yet, but what I do like about him is he's not inherently good or inherently bad. All he wants is chaos. There won't be a point to where he's going to join a good person or join a bad person. He's just like, I don't fucking care. And Ashley's has a role in that movie as well. So like I said, we're very excited. We got to learn how to roller skate again.
I know. I was gonna say we need to go roller skating, because I'm gonna be like a baby deer that's just learning how to walk, because I haven't roller skated in so long.
Me
so
either.
It's really cool to get these offers for us. Like, hey, we have this role for you. We have this role for Ashley. We'd like for you guys to read the script. Is this something you're interested in? Of course it is. We love that. We have a short film that we did, Home is Where the Haunt Is, which is on YouTube, which is very, very personal for both of us. And we have a feature length that we're writing called The Ofrenda, which is also, this is one that's going to take a while because it's a feature length. And what I would really like to do is on YouTube, 10 1-hour episodes of it. I would like to make it like a 10-hour thing.
Oh, wow.
And my elevator pitch, if Hocus Pocus happened today, but was a dark, serious slasher, that's what the Ofrenda is. It includes a lot of my Hispanic background, which I'm super proud of. It has a lot to do with Ashley and her family and losing loved ones that she's really proud of. We put our heads together. But by the end of the year, we're hoping to get another short out that we've been working on called The Unlucky Ones.
Okay.
And this is our first foray into a major twist film that we're both really. Ashley came to me with this idea of a twist, and I was like, we need to build around that. That's fucking brilliant. Let's do that. So hopefully by the end of the year through Sledgehammer Horror, we will put out The Unlucky Ones.
Oh yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And we're parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess besides all the other things that you're talking about with acting, filming, what's next for Sledgehammer in regards of doing interviews or any of the other series? Is there going to be any new series coming out? You guys brainstorming anything else?
What?
We have one that we're doing right now for members of the channel where we act out scenes from movies together.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think eventually we'll start to expand into another series that we've kind of been kind of brainstorming.
I mean, I feel like we talk about stuff all the time, but it just like kind of.
The reason why is just because like we do My First Horror Movie, which we release 3 episodes a week of that.
Yeah.
We do 1 versus a month, 1 Didn't See That Coming a month, 2 In Defense ofs a month, 4 lives a month. So altogether, we're putting out between 5 to 6 videos a week.
Yeah,
that's
you know, and that's on top of going to baseball games, being a baseball coach, being a dance, going to dance. Football has started in our town already. On top of just being parents, and working full time. We both have full-time jobs. Ashley's a respiratory therapist. She's a real life hero.
Awesome.
I sell car parts because that's what I've always done my whole life is be around car parts. So I mean, like, one thing you cannot say about the Sledges is we don't work hard.
Yeah.
That's one, flag that I'll plant all the time is we try to be some of the hardest working people in the world. We try to always give people, because we know that, if you get stagnant, people are going to stop watching. You got to keep people entertained, So like I said, we try to release 4 or 5 videos a week. And we've been doing a lot more reviews lately.
I really like the In Defense of. I have a lot of fun with that. It
is fun.
A lot of fun. So,
but again, she does a lot of research on that. Like when we were defending stuff, like she has to get Rotten Tomato scores. She has to get the critics stuff.
I like reading stuff like that. Like that stuff interests me. I love doing research. Like I'm like that.
And what I love is doing an episode of In Defense of, and then someone comments like, I'm going to go back and rewatch this movie
and give it another chance. Yeah.
Like we did an In Defense of on one of my favorite movies of all time, which was Child's Play 3. Because that gets a lot of shit in the Child's Play franchise. That's one of my favorite movies ever, let alone in the franchise. That's easily my favorite in the franchise. And, and to have a good friend, Cody Leach, he came on and, we respect him. We love his work. And, he came on to defend that movie because he loves it so much. So, I mean, like to be able to do, Seed of Chucky's another one we've done.
We did.
The Nightmare on Elm Street remake, to be able to give our opinions on why we think these movies are worth watching again. I made a huge ripple in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake one because I talked about how I thought Jackie Earle Haley was a better Freddy Krueger than Robert Englund. And
I think I remember listening to that too, and I was just like, why?
People were not very fond of that. I mean, look at, if I had to choose which Freddy I'm going to watch, obviously I'm picking Robert Englund.
It's always going to be Robert Englund. Yeah.
But Jackie Earle Haley made me hate Freddy Krueger, and that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to hate the child killer. I'm supposed to hate the child molester.
He's not supposed to be like charismatic and funny.
I'm not supposed to be rooting for him.
Be on Slime Time and get slimed by the kids.
Do you remember that, dude? Like he was on Nick at Night getting slimed.
Yeah. Yep.
The child rapist
killer
is getting Nick at Night time.
I mean, we don't know that he was the R word. He was a killer.
Oh, you're talking about in the old movies?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say, in the remake, he absolutely was.
Yeah, he definitely was.
It was never confirmed. He was just a kill. Like that's better.
I know.
Hold on, he only killed him. Okay, I know. That's it.
It
is funny though. Like that's true.
It's just how our brains work.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like the child killer, and we're all like watching him get slimed on Nick at Night. We're like, how's it feel, Fred? This is, so you couldn't hate Robert Englund. And you're supposed to, like that's what Robert Englund is the best, actor in the world when it comes to that because you're supposed to hate him, but you can't because he's that good. Jackie Earle Haley, every time he said something, you're like, oh, I hate
it. Just made you feel gross.
Oh, he's dirty.
Yeah,
and
definitely
gross.
made you feel gross. I agree on that.
Yes.
So that's why I loved the Nightmare remake, because, and I asked people, why don't you like it? They're like, I hate Freddy. Like, you hate the bad guy? That's why you don't like the movie? Oh, boy, do I got some other movies to show you you're really going to hate. I'm going to introduce this guy named Jason. It's crazy. He kills people, too. You're probably not going to like him. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to root for him.
Yeah.
So, like, that's always been a weird one for me. Like, I don't like this movie because I hate the bad guy in it.
But, I mean, you were like that for a long time, too.
I really was.
Like, you hated it for a very long time.
The reason I hated it, and the reason I still is not one of my favorite remakes, is they took way too much from the original and just did it CGI.
Yeah.
I feel the same as that.
And I didn't care for his look either. Like, the wet, I didn't like it.
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. There's definitely flaws in it. I will also say, though, and a hill I will die on, it has the best ending of any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Any of the movies, the remake has the best ending.
Yeah.
There is no Nightmare on Elm Street movie that has a good ending. None of them.
I know the ending. That's where it falls.
It's always, even in the first one, that dumb blow up doll on the Freddy car.
If it didn't look so bad, it would be better. But yeah, the blow up doll.
I hate that car. I hate the car more. Every time I see the car, I'm like, so he just turned into a car? That's what we're doing now?
Yeah. He's gonna be objects.
Thanks, Bob Gale, for that one.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because like, we wanted to do this so we could have a sequel. And then the sequel has nothing to do with the end of the first one. Like, what are we doing,
They were like, Ken hated that car.
Yeah, they were like, we can't bring that car back, guys. There's going to be this guy in the future, Sledgehammer Horror, and he's going to bitch about it on every single episode he does. Literally every episode he finds a way to sneak in the stupid party car. So
everyone's like, we're sick of hearing about this party car.
When I meet Robert Englund, I'm like, dude, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Why the Freddy car? Like, what happened there with that?
He's gonna be like, get out.
He's gonna pull up the Freddy car.
Oh wow, this has been really, really fun. Kind of dissecting everything that you guys are doing, and it's great to actually, sit down, have a proper chat just about our lives and where everything kind of started, and to see where you guys are now, and kind of reflect on all the things that you've done. It's amazing how much can happen in just a few years, especially on my show. We've only been going for less than 3 years right now, and there's so much stuff that I feel like I've done, and there's so much more. Like, now I'm doing live movie hostings, which I'll announce right here very quickly. Very quick plug is August 16th at Cinema Salem. I'm going to be showing Death Drop Gorgeous with the crew, cast and crew of that film. They're locals over here, good friends of mine. And then in September, the 28th, I'm going to be hosting Pool Party Massacre with Drew Marvick. He's going to be coming all the way from Vegas, so that's going to be super duper fun. Also going to be in Salem at Cinema Salem. So it's just an extension of things that I've been wanting to do, and it's what I've been thinking about doing for a long time, is to get people together in a room, watch a film, meet the people behind it, record an episode, and kind of just like build another community outside of that. So I really have to thank.
Drew is amazing. One of the best beards in the business, man.
Yeah, Drew, he's a great guy, and I've had him on the show once. And if you guys haven't talked to him before, I really highly recommend that you reach out to him and get him on the show. He's such a nice guy, and the amount of stuff that he's doing and what he has done in his life is astonishing. When you talk to him, you're like, really? You've done that? Wow. You're doing that now? Wow.
That's so cool.
So it's really, really cool to see everybody growing and to have this great community and podcasting community as well in our little group of everybody supporting each other and watching everybody kind of grow. And to see what's next, because I'm always excited to see what people are doing next and to hear all these great things you guys have going on in the background with acting, more shows, and all the interviews that you've been doing. It's amazing, and I thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on here and talk about yourselves a little bit.
Absolutely, this was fun.
Yeah, it's great, and anytime you guys want to come back on again, you can shoot me a DM, Ken. Let me know when you want me on, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to talk about that as soon as we're done recording.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's pretty much all I have for these questions. I want to keep these nice and short so people can digest them quickly and go support you guys as much as possible. Yeah. So thank you,
Appreciate
Ashley.
It, guys.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously, Anytime. This has been absolutely great. So thank you, everybody, for checking this episode out. And please go support Sledgehammer Horror. See you on the next one.